Tonight,
Hey there, YouTube. SkepticalRoot. Comments on comments. Officially the first video that is just going to be about comments on comments. I've had a couple of unique things to my channel happen to me, which I will note in the future. First off was I had a comment on my Racism is Not Prejudice Plus Power video that I felt needed more explanation, and I wasn't sure if it was a troll or not for the original comment. Good job shattering these false narratives by entitled blacks. The word racism already has been defined. Now, I wasn't sure if this was a troll comment or if it was sarcastic or something like that. That's a statement that I would hear uttered sarcastically in a lot of left-wing or left-sided conversations, particularly in the social justice community, and I wasn't sure if this was a troll or not. So I responded back that I'm not sure how to respond to their comment, other than to say that the video is only about the prejudice plus power is racism description. It wasn't about entitled blacks. I didn't say anything about blacks. I don't think I may have referenced them as an example, but not. It wasn't about entitled black people. They were confused by my response, and the thing that I should say that hasn't happened to me before is this person has a YouTube channel with 1 subscriber, but someone by the exact same name with the exact same picture has a different YouTube channel with a few more subscribers that does something completely unrelated to what this video is about. So I don't know if this is a troll. I don't know if this is just someone who has 2 accounts and they use this one to identify themselves but not to link it to their other stuff, so that if they say something or in some way offensive, they get dinged on this account. It won't affect their actual content. I don't know. So I'm still not sure exactly who this person is. I'm going to assume that they are who they say they are and go from there. But they were confused by my comment about, because I said that I haven't made any claims about entitled blacks, so other than refuting that one point, and I don't know that how I'm shattering these false narratives, because I'm just talking about this one particular definition. Their confusion was the ideological narrative is the false narrative I am referring to. Prejudicism plus power is a false narrative. A Marxist narrative if you replace class with race. I am commending you for doing such, speaking out about the issue and how the left/black community chose to disregard an already defined word for something they rather identify with. I understand their point clearly. Slightly awkwardly worded sentences, but not like I'm one to say anything about that. I have my fair share of awkward sentences in just about every comment that I leave. So, and I explained to this person that I agree that the prejudice plus power idea is fatally flawed, that there's a lot of Marxism and Marxist ideals being pushed in the SJW community, and that it is flat out incorrect, damaging to the broader society, and harmful to people on both sides of the issues. I would say that there's far too much authoritarianism in the social justice movement, and much of it is motivated by feelings. And we know how I feel about feelings. Or we know what I think of feelings. No, we know how I feel about feelings. But I clarified that I, relatively speaking, consider myself, I use the term leftist. I'm not a radical leftist. I'm a rational leftist. I fall on the right for reasons. And it's the only comment on my Racism is Not Prejudice Plus Power video. Go ahead and read my response, read their response. You can get a better idea of the narrative here. Or it's not really a narrative, of my position. That I'm not against the mainstream version of their stated goals. That I want to progress towards social harmony and integration. But I want to do it based on rational ideas and not ideological narratives. So keep that in mind to any of my subscribers or people watching this video. I will make videos, and I'll insert this here. I will make videos about the things that I see wrong in social justice, and the things that I see wrong in feminism, and the things that I see wrong in mostly in ideological positions where they some element gets inserted into the ideology or is part of the core ideology that doesn't have any logical basis or rational motives or anything like that, and it's propagandistic. I will call all that stuff out. I don't want to, like, I don't want to do videos about people. I did the one about Steve Shives, and there will be more response videos to people, but I want to talk about the ideas and not the people. So understand that I follow people on YouTube and on Twitter who are, almost everybody is left. I used to follow Milo Yiannopoulos on Twitter. I do follow some more right-wing people on Twitter than I follow on YouTube. YouTube is a good split between feminists and anti-feminists, but it's all, for the most part, left. So keep that in mind. That's how I consider myself. But the second thing is I had my response to Steve Shives' video, had a comment that was completely out of the blue, nothing to do with the video, and of course was from some theist who can't, I don't think English is their first language. It was originally marked as spam, and I decided to pull it out and talk to them anyway. So his comment, this is Yudhe Vauhe, or YHWH. Hermetic school thoughts, and whenever I see YHWH, I think about it in the Hebrew. YHWH, cross, behold the hand, behold the nail, is the name of this person. His comment is, atheists are fool and ignorant. I can prove God's existence in 4 simple hardcore facts. Lowercase I, if you want to see an atheist get corner and then scatters after he is confronted with hardcore evidence of God's existence, then join this comment page below. So who will take me up on the challenge? Last one being a sentence fragment and no punctuation, but whatever. So, of course, because I can see the rhetorical trick he's using, I say, LOL, cute rhetorical trick. When do you stop beating your wife? Because, of course, this is either run away scared, I proved my point, and this is their thinking, or confront me and I will show you why you're wrong. I said, LOL, cute rhetorical trick. When did you stop beating your wife? Okay, I'll bite. What are your 4 simple hardcore facts that prove God's existence? And it was the response was, the first response was actually to a guy named Park Jammer. In order to see how these prophecies are being fulfilled, a very important thing is to know who are fulfilling them, who are hiding them, who these people are. You need to learn the true world history and not the history which have been taught in schools. Then, first fact, all capitals. Who are the Freemasons / Illuminati / Zionists / Khazars? ... Question. Here is hardcore evidence with videos and pictures. And he links a couple of Google Plus pages to high-ranking officials talking to each other, shaking hands, occasionally them doing it in ceremonial fashion, occasionally like showing Obama shaking somebody's hand, and then showing that person later at a Masonic temple, this type of stuff. A couple, there's like one of them was a video, a black and white video, but you can tell it's a retro kind of video where they used old school filming filters. They shot this video as a period piece, and it shows, it's framed and it's lighted and it's all this kind of stuff. There are effects that are good and some that are poor. You can tell it's not like somebody recording the video of this satanic ceremony or something like that, where they slit this guy's throat and they bring him back to life and then they dispose of the body later. It was hilarious that this person saw this as proof of the Illuminati. And then another link that had more convincing photos. And of course, I questioned whether or not to troll them, but I said, nope, not even evidence here, let alone proof. I don't even see how anything is being factually represented. Want to try for number 2. And then I said, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm not Park Jammer either. But so then we get into the questions of anthropology and astronomy, and he's got questions about population doubling rates, which his math is even wrong, and his assumptions seem to be wrong, and the recession of the moon argument, which I pointed out for his explanation of it, is completely way off. And he says another comment: in the beginning there was nothing, so what explode? Where did the energy come from? I pointed out, I'm not an anthropologist or an astronomer. Here's what I can glean from the material you're talking about. Here's what I know of population dynamics and doubling rates and populations. Here are reasons why it isn't a linear progression like you are trying to imply it. And I included a link talking about mass extinction events that affected humans, including included in this thing was the Toba hypothesis about when the island of Toba went off, volcanic island went off 70,000 years ago. It reduced the population to around, I think the material said around 2,000 or so, which taken a long time to get back to a large enough population to populate the Earth, but he, of course, has reasons for that, but he doesn't consider any of this stuff. I also pointed out that his recession of the moon argument fails because if using his math, using his numbers, and the actual rate of the recession of the moon, 4.6 billion years ago, how old the Earth is. If the Earth is moving away, if the moon is moving away at 3.8 centimeters per year, 4.6 billion years ago, the moon would have been, if it started from the surface of the Earth, would only be 17 billion centimeters from the Earth, but it's actually 38 billion centimeters from the Earth. So his straight math doesn't work. The moon is more than twice as far away in 4.6 billion years than he says it would be relatively the same after 6,000 years and only moving about 800 feet. But he's saying that 1.5 billion years ago, the moon would have been on the surface of the Earth, which is not true, based on the math that is easy to look up. Then he tries to refute that stuff. I explained that nothing exploded in the Big Bang; it was all in a singularity and just expanded. It's a long thing, but the part about it that didn't, I have some really nice responses with some links and references for him, which he doesn't, of course, go through. He watches part of one video that I sent him that explains the concept of population dynamics and doubling rates and things like that. One of two videos from the same guy talking about population. He says he watched one, and I don't think he watched one, because the only thing that he references is a chart in the one video that's about 5 minutes and 36 seconds in that talks about population going back to the 1800s. They're using it as an example of population doubling rates from the 1800s until now. But the video talks about reasons why populations double and how to calculate them and the factors over time and all that kind of stuff. Wasn't interested. But what the interesting part was that he then, after saying that, there was another comment that was marked as spam, which I released and commented on later, but before I could do that, he responded with, where did hydrogen and helium come from? Where did the energy and laws of the universe come from? Stating that I would need a creator to design something, even if I say everything existed before. That just proves the existence of God, which of course it doesn't. It's common sense. He makes a watchmaker argument here by using a high-tech robot. So who wrote all the laws of physics? Black matter cannot be created, copy itself, or change. Where did it come from? And I, of course, had to question, what do you mean by black matter? Do you mean dark matter? Nobody wrote the laws of physics. They're descriptive, not prescriptive. We know technology by the fact that we contrast it. We know design because it contrasts with nature, but we don't need nature to understand function. So we can see things that have function, but may not necessarily have been divined or designed, etc., etc., etc. I keep teasing this. So he turns off replies after he can't answer my last question. I think because I tripped him up because he says, I don't care what math you do. You come up with 6 billion people throughout a million years. Do the math and see what comes up. Which, of course, he tells me he doesn't care what math I do, but then he tells me to do the math. So, but didn't provide numbers for me to do math on. Where's his last comment here? So his last comment is, I saw the video. The only thing talking about population is since 1800s, and that only they controlled the growth. It doesn't talk about millions of years of population. It's all about individual. Have to do is hunt for themselves. Wake up, space, exclamation, space, lowercase t. The numbers don't add up. I'm done. Good luck to you, and may God forgive you. With no period. So not only did he leave a comment and then turn off replies to his comments, which is a dick move, because obviously you're not willing to have a conversation, he couldn't even end the last sentence with a period. What the hell? Certainly not final. And so, of course, if you go there, you see a response to me, and I try to tag him with it, but of course, because his response is turned off, it doesn't flag him as going to him. I commented on how brave he was for turning off comments. Explained the last couple of things that were wrong with his problem, with his analysis of things, and pointed out that he doesn't consider anything in his calculations to figure the doubling rate for populations over 150 years. So that's it. Go check those out. Those are on my Steve Shives video, response to Steve Shives. It was an interesting conversation with somebody that clearly didn't know what they were talking about. And it had nothing to do with the video. So that was fun, wasn't it? In case you're wondering why sometimes I look here and sometimes I look here, I have two screens. The webcam's kind of in between them. So when I'm clearly not looking at you and I'm looking at a screen, I'm clearly not looking at you. All right, that's it. I have other things that I could talk about for a video, but I want to sit down and do them. I'm officially done with my topic list. I transferred over a couple of the ones that I added to a smaller post-it, just to get rid of that list. Those topics currently include normalizing behaviors by behaving that way. Culture is shit, which of course requires explanation. I will at some point have to do a wage gap video. I don't want to because it's been beat to death. But I think that there has to be discussion on it, because I don't think the discussion that I hear is all that productive, and I think there's too much ideological crap loaded into it, and the usage of the term gender, and that is more of a historical lesson, but I think it needs to be clarified in modern American Western usage, and why gender, the usage of the term gender became something. Some of this is observational from when I was younger and from things that I looked up at the time, like when I first learned what the word gender was, and how I didn't understand why they weren't using other terms. So that's it. This ended up being shorter than my other attempts at doing this. So thanks everyone for watching. This is SkepticalRoot. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Go read my comments. Check out my videos. Tell people that you know that there's this guy who has a really nice voice, but you can really take a nap to his videos because he drones on and on and on a lot. And they're kind of long. They're just long enough to really fall asleep to. No, don't tell him that. Well, you could. If it gets them to come over here and subscribe to my channel, that's awesome. They don't have to agree with me. But if it's going to make them mad, then maybe it won't let them nap so well. So, all right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Goodbye and hello, as always.
If it doesn't,